Potions in Everdale are a vital part of the game, but are they all good? Hey guys, Alex here, otherwise known as Clash with Still, back with a little bit of a different kind of video for you guys today, and that is going to be a tier list video. Now, if you guys do want to get involved in this yourself, I will leave a link down in the description where you guys can jump on and make your very own tier list with the potions on what you think is good and what you think is bad. But today is going to be all about my opinions and what I think the best potions are and what the worst potions are. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Animal Handlers Tonic. Now, this is a really interesting one because I haven't actually unlocked it in the game. Yes, I've been slacking. So I guess I can't really give too much of an opinion on this, but right now in the game, the Animal Handler's skill is a little bit broken, I think is fair to say. It takes a ridiculous amount of time to max out an Animal Handler's skill compared to nearly every other skill in the game. So the Animal Handler's Tonic does kind of have its place because it's going to help speed up that XP gain in your village, so hopefully you can level up a little bit faster in the valley. But then again, do we really have that much of a need for the Animal Handler skill in the village? Because I found eggs, honey and milk. I've usually got absolutely plenty of this in the village, and honestly I can't really see myself using this Animal Handler's potion as and when I unlock it, so this for me is going to get put into the C tier. I really don't think it's an amazing potion. I can kind of see why the Supercell team have implemented it in the game because every other skill has a potion, but for me this one sadly just doesn't really cut it. So next up we have the Brick Worker's Tonic, and once again this is one I've not actually unlocked. However, I have unlocked the previous iteration of the potion, which is actually of course the brew, and I have used this a little bit, but I've only really used it in a couple of certain scenarios. Now the certain scenarios I am talking about is of course when you're building something and it requires bricks, because I have found my level 10 builder actually uses bricks quicker than I can make them. Now this is because there is no skill for bricks and no skills for making planks. So this is a little bit of a downside I think in the game. These potions in my opinion are absolutely vital, especially when it comes to those individual things. But overall, do I tend to use these that much? No, not really. So once again, for me, it's gonna kind of be a toss-up between these middle three categories. I think the Brick Worker's Tonic is probably gonna be used slightly more than some of the other potions on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put that into the A tier because I think, especially when it comes to building later game, you are in desperate need of bricks, and this potion really does come in very helpful. Next up, we have the Builder's Potion. Now, this is a bit of a controversial one because initially, I really thought the Builder's Potion was going to be a fantastic potion I would try and use all the time, but I've used it once, and since then, I've never used it again, because I have found that the Builder's Potion speeds up the builder so much that my other workers simply cannot keep up with the resource demand needed to build that building unless they themselves have a potion. So the Builder's Potion is only good if it's paired up with multiple other potions on other villagers, so everything could be sped up together. And at this point you're basically just running a nectar boost rather than a potion boost because so many villagers all getting boosted. So for me, the Builder's Potion is very rarely going to be used, and in my opinion, sadly, it's actually going to go down on the F tier. Now, don't hate me for putting it down in the F tier. I'm sure many of you have actually used this potion and you think it's useful. I do think it's useful as well, but I feel like it's not really balanced enough to as where when you use it, it's going to benefit you enough, because I've just found I have to make other potions to keep up with this potion, and in my opinion, that shouldn't be needed. Next up, we're going to move on to three potions. That's going to be clay, stone, and wood. I'm going to keep all these three together because I feel they're basically the same. They're all going to be used for the same specific things, so that's what I'm going to dive into. So these three I found I tend to use here and there in the game. I am not trying to make these as much as I'm trying to make some other potions, especially when it comes to the kind of plank potions and the Brick Worker's potions. I find I kind of tend to focus on them a little bit more, of course, as well as the Researcher's potion, but we'll get to that in a second. The clay, the stone, and the wood, I feel these are only really needed for a very select few amount of circumstances, and that's if you are trying to boost to get maximum amount of resources you can for, say, a no hunger event, and you're really trying to stockpile, or if your valley is in desperate need to complete an event or complete a ship, something like that, and you don't have enough resources and nobody else is able to complete it. So for me, they're kind of mid. I'm going to throw them up on the B tier because I think they have good use cases. They are of course really good early game because you are able to use the lower versions of these potions to really try and speed up some of your progress. Make sure you've got plenty of resources so you can then use those villagers on other things. So for me, they're kind of mid of the table. They're not too good, they're not too bad, they're just kind of sitting in there. Next up, we have one of my favorite potions in the game, and that is the Farmer's Potion. Now, this is one of the potions I've actually played around with the most, because what I found is sometimes I'll have one or two villagers on the soup and it's ever so slowly depleting. Now, if it's going down and down, I know if I don't get back into the game before it hits 0, then sadly my villagers are going to run out of food and everything is going to grind to a halt. Now, the interesting thing with these potions is usually I can throw it on one of my villagers, whether it be level 10 or even slightly lower, and then it usually means that one villager, with the help of this potion, is able to maintain a steady amount of soup, and therefore I can use that other villager on a different task. So this potion, in my opinion, is absolutely awesome. I have used it a huge amount. I'm not sure if you guys have, so of course let me know down in the comments where you would rank the Farmer's Tonic, but for me, it's going to go all the way up there on S tier. I really do think it's an incredible potion. I certainly have used it plenty of times, so I think it is very deserving of the top spot up there. So next up, we have the Tonic of Fullness. Now, the Tonic of Fullness is one of these potions that is incredible. Let's be honest, all of you guys do use the Tonic of Fullness. I cannot be the only one who swears by using this all of the time, because in my opinion, it's basically a no hunger event in a bottle. You are basically able to brew a no hunger event and use it on your villagers. Now, I know it's not going to impact all your villagers, it's only going to impact one of them, but again, going back to talking about the soup, if we've got 2 villagers or 3 villagers or 1 villager, whatever it might be, working on the pumpkin patches, but your soup is slowly decreasing, rather than using a Farmer's Potion if you don't have any, you can use a Tonic of Fullness on one of your other potions. I always try to use it on my Researcher, again, just to give that boost if possible, and that means that Researcher is no longer going to have to eat, and hopefully that should level out your soup intake. So for me, this potion is going to have to go all the way up there on S tier. I use it all of the time. I think it has a lot of use cases. It's very, very versatile. You can use it on every villager for almost every use case. So for me, that Tonic of Fullness definitely is deserving of another top spot. Okay, so now moving on to the Plank Potion. That's what I'm going to call it, the Plank Potion, because I think it's pronounced Sawyer, but I don't know how to say it properly. So I'm just going to call it the Plank Potion. I'm sure you guys understand the one I mean. So the Plank Potion is a really interesting one as well. It's very similar, of course, to the Brickworker's Potion, because there is not an individual skill for this specific potion, unlike nearly all of the other ones. So this is one of the potions that I'm having to use a huge amount more than, say, the clay, stone, wood, for example, because those other potions, we actually have alternate skills. We can level up those skills, and then rarely are you going to need to actually use those potions. Whereas with brick and with planks, it's always really, really difficult to keep up with the resources you need to build some of the higher level buildings, especially if you have a level 10 builder like I do. He builds really, really quickly. We're able to keep up on things like stone, clay, and wood because I've got those other villagers up at level 10, but sadly for the brickworkers and the planks, there's no level system, so that's where these potions really do come in handy. And once again, this one is going to have to go onto A tier alongside the bricks, because I think it's really, really helpful late game and it's very much needed. So on to the final potion of the game, and that is going to be the Researchers Tonic. Now, this arguably is probably one of the most important potions in the game, because I personally feel that you are always wanting to speed up your research. Now, the issue, of course, with this type of potion is it's always really hard to get mandrakes. Mandrakes are one of the items you need in order to craft this potion, but they are really hard to come by. You might be lucky to get some in your shop, you might be lucky to get some in auto, you might also be one of the first to get onto the summary wood ships to claim some of those mandrakes, but I've certainly found in my valley, as soon as one of those summary wood ships comes in, all of the mandrake tasks are taken almost instantly because everyone is after them to create the Researchers Tonic. And of course, there is a reason for that, and that is because the Researchers Tonic is going to give you a 150% boost for 9 hours to your research, which is going to speed it up by a considerable amount, and research in the game is the main way to improve, to upgrade, to just level up and show how good you are at this game. So of course, everyone wants to progress it as quickly as possible. So this potion, when it comes to Everdale, in my opinion, is probably the most important. So we are going to put it all the way up there at S tier. Technically, I think we could actually make a new tier like S++ and put the Researchers Tonic in there, but I'm quite happy with it sitting next to the Tonic of Fullness and the Farmer's Tonic. Potentially, I could actually drop that Farmer's one by one, but I'm quite happy with it up there because I actually use it all the time. Now, remember, this is my opinion, and I would absolutely love to hear what you guys think. Like I said, I will leave a link down in the description where you guys can make your very own tier list. All of the potions should already be loaded in there, so all you need to do is go onto it and drag them in. Once you've done, you can tweet me at ClashWStyle and let me see your tier list. I would absolutely love to see what you guys think. Of course, I try and check out as much of the Everdale content over on Twitter, on Reddit, in the Everdale Discord server as well, so make sure you guys are constantly keeping me updated on everything to do with your Everdale journey. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said, a little bit of a different one. If you want to see more tier list videos for Everdale in the future, absolutely let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like in the video, subscribe while you're at it for lots more Everdale content, and hopefully I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.